Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Oner Podcast, the podcast where we break down and review films all in one big, long, unbroken take. I'm Austin Archer, and with me, as always, is my childhood next-door neighbor and lifelong best friend,
Kramer, England.
We're in the same room.
We are. There's my hand.
We're holding hands. We are sitting across from each other in Kramer's home in his basement. I was home for the holidays, and so we were able to. Yeah, this is weird.
I know. Yeah,
this is a different setup than the last time I was.
It is. It's a little easier to talk this way. Last time we were side by side, and it was.
We decided so that we could look into each other's eyes.
Stare.
I like to look deep into
3 minutes of uninterrupted eye contact.
Here we go, everybody. Okay, today we are talking about Avatar: Fire and Ash. It's the third film in James Cameron's epic Pandora saga on Avatar. If you saw our Oner first thoughts on this film, you know that we don't like it.
And I think honestly, I think my first thoughts is going to be more generous than I am right now.
Because, it keeps getting worse the more I think.
The more I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was just like, it's not. Yeah. It's not a great film.
I think we probably both feel this way. And a lot of reviewers have said this. It's like the most generous thing you can say about it, which is if you're a big fan of the Avatar franchise, if you're a big Pandora head and you love the blue people and you can't wait to go back and you love all the animals and the whales, and you're probably going to have a really good time.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I said too. If you love this kind of stuff, if you love going and just turning off your brain and looking at the visuals, you're going to love it.
Yeah, I think that it's not a surprise to me that the audience score it tends to skew higher than the critic score for this movie. And it's not a surprise to me that a lot of the critics who are giving it favorable reviews, the thing that they're saying is like, hey, if you like Avatar movies, this is another one of them. And it's fun, but I'm like, that's also not great to just be like, if you're into this sort of thing, because it's like if that's the best thing you can say about the movie, it's like, okay, because I don't hate Avatar.
No, I don't either.
And I also didn't really hate Way of Water. There was a lot that I enjoyed about it.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. I did not watch Way of Water ever again after seeing it in theaters one time.
Yeah.
I saw Avatar, the first movie, 3 times in theaters.
Interesting.
And it's because I knew this movie's not going to ever hit the same at home. I knew then, I was like, if I want to experience what I'm experiencing here, the theater's the only place. I'm once this comes out on Blu-ray and I was right. The first time I saw Avatar at home, I was like, yeah, it's just not. The whole experience of the film is the technical, bombastic, hitting you in the face with these visuals and this sound. And at home, it's just it just doesn't really hit the same way.
No.
And then Avatar 2, I just was I remember feeling wow, this is a really cool technical achievement. And there was a lot of things that were interesting in the way that they were expanding the story, but I never felt the need to ever watch that movie again until I was about to go watch this one. And I was like, I don't really remember what happened in the second one. So let me watch that and then go watch this.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, it was hard for me to get through the second one at home.
It's a long movie.
I was sitting at home watching it I don't want to keep watching this. And then I went and watched the third one, and I'm kind of glad I watched the second one now, because a lot of people have been saying this too. And I can tell you, watching them back to back, they're the same movie.
Yeah, they are.
I was sitting in the theater going this exact scene happened in the second one.
Yeah.
Just several scenes where I was like, this is this exact emotional beat happens. And their third acts are indistinguishable.
The whales come and help them out. Yeah. It's
a nighttime fight.
Yeah.
With a big, massive, hour-long action set piece fight with the whole family and the tribes and the whales against the people. And it was I was literally if you showed me these two sequences side by side and told me to tell you which one's from the second movie, I would have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing that frustrates me the most, because I agree, it is so many of the beats are just repeated.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that frustrates me is that this originally was one movie. Way of Water and Fire and Ash were one movie. And they said, oh, we have too much story here. So they had to break them into 2 movies. I feel like if you were to combine them, it would justify a 3-hour time limit, like a 3-hour runtime.
Mm.
But as it is now, 2 3-hour movies, I don't get it. I also just like, because it is so many things that are going in the same way, like it could very easily have been one movie and it would have been better for it.
Yeah, I definitely seeing Fire and Ash. I agree. I just am like, oh, you don't need the extra, like,
No.
like because, but I also understand that like everything they were trying to do in Way of Water, fitting in the addition of the Ash people could have been one too many things. I got the fix for you though. Get rid of Stephen Lang. I just like, I think a lot of people in the second movie were like, why are you just bringing back, like, because it already felt like we were repeating it just like the new things about Way of Water were what made me interested in it. Like, oh, I'm interested in this new tribe and these new people and these new characters. I'm interested in the family dynamic. I'm interested in whatever's going on with the Sigourney Weaver clone baby and her connection to Awa. I'm interested in Spike as this like child of both worlds. I'm interested in that. But then when you bring back Stephen Lang, I'm just like, that shows to me a lack of imagination, that it feels like James Cameron was like, okay, who's the new villain? And he's like, I don't know. I guess just like we just resurrect the guy that died because Stephen Lang was so good. But I go, no, you've got a new villain. It's the Ash clan.
Yeah,
like, that's your new villain.
She and the main the antagonist of I don't even remember her name, but the fire woman, she was awesome. Halfway through the movie in Fire and Ash, she teams up with Stephen Lang, and then she just like disappears.
Well, so that's that's I talked about this in the first thoughts video. So by the way, spoilers. If you want the spoiler free version of our thoughts, you have to go watch our Oner first thoughts. That's where we do our spoiler free thoughts. This is all spoilers. So this is only if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it spoiled, this is spoilers. But also like, we usually encourage people to go to the theater and see movies, and this is one where I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want this movie to keep being supported. I felt like they wasted my time and wasted my money a little bit.
Yeah,
but you're absolutely right. The thing that in theory should make Avatar Fire and Ash interesting and new is the addition of this new villain. And the villain not being a person from Earth, not being a capitalist, trying to mine Pandora for its resources, but another clan that feels betrayed by Awa and has turned its back on, which I think is also an interesting commentary. The indigenous population has issues. They're not all living in harmony with Awa. There are some people who feel like they were wronged, the gods have turned their backs on them. That's interesting to me narratively. And when they first show up in this movie, I did kind of perk up in my seat, just because I was like, oh, here's something else. We haven't seen Na'vi people who are like scary and bad. But you're right. Once Stephen Lang teams up with them, he just takes over again as the main villain of the movie, and the Ash clan largely just fades into into the background. They just become like set dressing. And it was like, well, there should be like a major confrontation between Neytiri and the whatever they call it, the Sahik of the
whatever her Varang is her name, I think.
And I just feel like that's your story. Is this, but also that could have been your story for the second movie.
It could have.
They have to flee to the people of the water because the Ash people show up and burn their home, and the people of the water, they team up with them to like fight the Ash clan. And like, there's your movie. Get rid of Stephen Lang. Get rid of like all the repeated stuff that you've already done. And if you want, you can have humans there who are trying to like mine whale juice or whatever it is they're trying to do.
Brain. Whatever. It's everything is very thin. I think too, the James Cameron likes to do this for sequels. He likes to switch. So Terminator 2, Terminator was evil in the first one. In the second one, he's good.
Mhm.
It's just kind of a shorthand for like, oh, let's make him opposite. So he made Stephen Lang opposite. Oh, now he's an Avatar. How does he react? It's kind of like, I'm
Well,
not that interested.
every time in both movies, in the second and third movie, every time they get close to doing something interesting with the concept of Stephen Lang being
Yes,
in a Na'vi body, they back off of it.
they do.
Like, and it's in both movies. So here are all of the things that are like potentially interesting emotional conflicts that exist in the second movie that are exactly the same in the third movie and have not progressed at all. Jake Sully hates his one son for some reason. And he like in the third movie, it's like, oh, well, I guess he sort of blames his son for the death of his older son who he likes more, but he already hated him. The whole second movie, he hates his like middle son, and I don't know why. Like literally in both films, I'm just like, I don't know why he hates this son so much. It doesn't make sense to me. The movie has not given me a reason for this. He's always just like, oh, get out of here, you idiot. And like, you know, like, and I'm just like, why? What did he do? And then like at the end of the second movie, he sort of blames his son for the death of the son that he likes, which I'm like, okay, now you have a reason, but you already hated him. And then the resolution to that in the third movie is at some point in the third act finale, he just looks at him and goes like, you've proven yourself to me. I don't hate you anymore. And it's like, he doesn't exactly say those words, but it's like, he basically confirms like, I didn't like you, but then you like did something brave to prove yourself to me. So now you have my approval. And I'm like, bad dad. You're a bad dad.
That story itself just never, it never got the time to really even be interesting, but then it never really has the weight because there's so many other storylines going on. There's way too many storylines in this movie in Fire and Ash that like they spend way too much time on. So it lessens the blow of everything. So that story of the son, right? At one point he contemplates suicide, which I was like, where is this? I didn't feel like I had enough time to really earn that. Because I'm like, oh, okay, like I guess he's suicidal, which was just it just felt like it was more like, oh, this is gonna add drama if he tries to do that, rather than like something interesting.
I get it because after watching the second and third one back to back, I'm like, man, this kid's parents are brutal to him.
Yeah, maybe
and like I mean, his dad more so than his mom, but his mom doesn't really do enough to be like, hey, don't worry about dad. Like I'm just like, this kid's family is like unnecessarily rude to him. So I could like by the third movie, I was like, I get it, dude. Like I like you haven't done anything. Like the screenplay has at least not shown me anything that you've done that justifies why everyone is so mean to you. You know, but you're right. Like that happens, and it's like it feels a little out of place.
It does.
And it feels like they're trying to make something heavier than. But yeah, they're also in that same vein is. In both movies, the second and the third movie, Neytiri has a big problem with Spike. She doesn't like
Spike or Spider.
Spider. I keep calling him Spike. You're right, Spider. Has a big problem with this kid, and it doesn't make sense to me because it would make sense if she had a problem with him because he's the son of the general, but her problem is just that he's a human. He's an invader, and he's part of the extractionist humans that ruined the planet, but so is her husband.
I know, that's what makes no sense.
Her kids are they're children of both planets. Like I'm like, it doesn't make, and the screenplay never takes it any further. Neytiri's just like weirdly really racist toward humans, even though her kids are half human. And I don't like, I feel like that's something that maybe the script could investigate. They could have a conversation about that, but it's just sort of like, it's just sort of like we should understand why she hates them and why she doesn't trust Spider. But I'm like, but that was sort of her journey in the first film.
I know.
Her emotional journey in the first film was going from distrusting the sky people to falling in love with a sky person and understanding that sky people are capable of being good too. She resolved that arc. And then the whole second and third movie, she's just like, I hate this kid. And they never really resolve that.
No. No, and the whole thing with Spider, I mean, first of all, the dialogue was horrible. His dialogue is just absolutely horrible. I don't think that this actor is great.
No.
Unfortunately, like I know he's giving his best, but James Cameron's never been good at dialogue.
Right.
You know, and like it really shows here. but like the fact that like I understand this, it would be fine if it was more like you said, if she knew that that was the general's son and she was skeptical of him, that would make sense rather than being about all humans, because that just it totally negates what happened in the first one. But like the fact that she is, the fact that she wants to kill him, and this is the problem too. Jake Sully switches his thoughts throughout this whole movie because he's like, no, Spider's our son. Like he's a good kid. Why would you ever think that he is bad, right? And then he's like, no, we gotta kill Spider. I was like, whoa, that came out of left field. Like, why is it not that Neytiri is the one who tries to kill him and Jake talks her down, or she finally has that realization herself? Because they have this whole thing where he's like, oh, no, I'm gonna go put Spider down in the woods and like you stay here, Neytiri. And she's like, okay. And I was like, the way that they set it up, it all needs to be Neytiri that is the one who does this, that makes the choice not to kill Spider. Because all she does is she's like I get the symbolism. She's in the paint of the fire people, and then she washes it off. She's washing off her hate of humans. Like I get that, but that like doesn't. It needed to be her who makes the choice not to kill Spider, rather than just coming and telling Jake not to do it, even though Jake decided he wasn't going to do it. Which, by the way, when stabs, they do a stab sound. It's like, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is like, maybe they were really going for it. No, they didn't.
No.
It was like, so the thing that was frustrating too is that this movie is set up and it just takes these left turns that it doesn't fully commit to what it's even setting up.
It's also like, as you're describing this to me, like I'm realizing like I don't remember any of this. Like when you said like the kid tries to kill himself, I was like, oh yeah. Like I like just completely forgot about that. And then when you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna like kill Spider, I was like, oh yeah. Like I just I was so like glazed over while this movie was playing, just because I was kind of like, nothing here. It like there's nothing here for me to latch into that is. And it's like new events happen.
Yeah.
Like they don't try to kill Spider in the second movie,
No.
but it's still like the conflict is the same. Because another aspect of Spider's story is like the fact that he is Stephen Lang's son.
Yeah.
And there's this sort of conflict between like Spider's loyalty to Neytiri and Jake and the Sully family and the Na'vi people, and Spider wanting to have a relationship with his dad. And by the way, this is so poorly handled in both films. Like it literally in the second film, they like Stephen Lang and the bad guys kidnap Spider and they put him in like a cell. And then Spider's like, I'll never turn on the Na'vi people. I'll never. And he's like, you don't have to turn on them. You can just go with us, just fly with us and just sort of like, help us out. And he's like, okay. And then he just joins them. And he's like, for like a whole act of the film, Spider's just like with his dad and the Marines, helping them go track down Neytiri and Jake. And he's like, well, I'm not telling them where they are or giving them information, but I am helping them. Like he helps them get their own whatever the dragons.
That's right. Yeah.
He helps them like he takes them to the place where all of them are, tells them how to do it. He teaches them the language. And I'm like, you are helping them. and there's no like moment where you see him like decide or like be tricked by Stephen Lang, emotionally manipulated. He's just kind of like, I like hanging out with my dad. But he literally goes from being like, you can't torture me to tell you anything. And he's like, well, why don't you just come hang out with us then? And he's like, okay.
Yeah, hanging out's fun. I can do that.
And that happens in the second and third movie. That like every time he sees his dad, he's just kind of like, hey, what's up? And like, and he like sometimes is really mad at him, but sometimes it's kind of like, I'm going to be like your pal right now. And I just was sort of glazed over like that because it's the same thing with the Stephen Lang conflict of like, what should be interesting here is that he has become his enemy.
Yeah.
And that he now has to, over the course of the film, he's going to start learning empathy for, as he starts putting his brain into things, plugging into the ecological spirit of Awa, he should start to change as a character. He just doesn't.
I know, that's what would be way more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what I kept thinking, like, okay, this is actually cool. Like he's gonna change and it's really gonna be how he comes. Like, but no, they're gonna save it for another movie or just completely abandon it. But like this is when you can have that. Everything was set up to have that, because at the beginning of the movie, somehow they meet up. Jake Sully and his kids and Quaritch are there, and he's like, "You did a good job raising my son, Sully." And it's like they have this weird exchange, and I'm like, okay, this the rest of the movie, Stephen Lang will start slowly realizing, right, and like start coming. But every time they did it, like you said, they abandoned it.
He just backs off of it.
Backs
Well, it's like they have a whole sequence in this movie where they like team up.
Yeah.
Where Stephen Lang and Sully and they team up to go get the kids.
Yeah. Which was,
and then like at the end of that sequence, he's just kind of like, this doesn't change anything. I'll see you. And he literally is like, I'll see you at the end of the movie to fight.
Yeah.
and he just sort of like takes off. He's like, all right, thanks for helping me get my kid.
Yeah.
Corporal. He's like, I'll see you at the end of the movie for the big fight.
Yeah,
just like,
it really was.
And it's just kind of like, all right, see ya. And it's like, what? Like,
it really, like, it would have been a much more interesting movie if they would have done that, if they would have been able to have him change, but do it in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just again, it's like this, it's the same thing that we watched with Way of Water.
Right. And yeah, again, another thing in this movie that, and it's not like there aren't new events or new images, hey, if I'm going to try to give this movie some things that I go, oh, that's interesting. It's like, I liked, at the beginning of the movie when they were traveling with the people who fly with the big, like, hot air balloon that looks like an animal that like has like a big, like, amniotic sac or something that inflates. And I just was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like anytime James Cameron in these movies just like shows me a new animal species that I'm like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Like, some of that stuff's fun. It's not like taking me anywhere new emotionally or narratively. It's just sort of like showing me a new thing. And that's why, like, the first time the Ash people show up, I'm just kind of like, well, this is something else.
Yeah.
But again, the movie does very little with it. But yeah, we've got Kiri, who is the clone of Sigourney Weaver's avatar.
Yeah.
And the whole thing in the second movie is finding out that Kiri is special in some way. She has some kind of special psychokinetic connection to Awa, and it manifests like epilepsy, and like, like she has seizures when she connects to like the life tree and things like that. And the whole question with Kiri in the second movie is like, what is her connection to Awa? And does she have like special, like something's going to happen and develop? And it's basically the exact same in the second film. Like, we see a little bit more of what she can do. And we actually get to see like Awa's face for a second in this film, which was like, okay.
I thought that was dumb, but yeah, we'll talk about it.
It doesn't really take us anywhere new. It feels very much like Kiri is still stuck in the same place she was in the second.
Well, and I still don't. Kiri is such a weird character.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, first of all, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I know this is Sigourney Weaver. She's probably what, in her 60s, maybe 70s.
I think she's in her 70s.
Yeah. So she's playing like a 16-year-old. And I'm like, that just takes me out of the movie.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, okay, so Sigourney Weaver is trying to act young when she's very old, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's a weird thing with the character. But then, like, I still don't get, I get she has some sort of connection to Awa, but like her journey to get to Awa made no sense, because it's like, oh, a lot of wind, she's trying to keep me out. Oh, and then she falls, and then like, oh, everybody else is coming and helping me get to Awa. And then they get to Awa, and it goes just like, what? Like,
that's literally what it is. And like nothing happens. It was just kind of like, what's up?
She's like, oh, you're here? Oh, hi. I didn't even know.
Sort of just looking this way, and then just like,
it really was like,
just kind of like, who are you guys? Like,
how do you guys get in here?
And then nothing happens. It's just sort of like, well, we got
yeah. And that was the dumbest thing, is that, okay, I thought, oh, she has to put herself physically through this test.
Yeah.
Which I get. That's what I get. But then when she gets there, Awa should be there to be like, you know, and it doesn't have to be a
congratulations, you found me.
Like, it needs to be a moment of like, you've made it. Now you can connect with me or whatever. Let's do it. We need, it needs to be something like that. It doesn't have to be a physical person, whatever. But like, so it's just almost like, oh, that's where the air conditioning comes out while I hang out. Like, you came in through that way, like, oh, you should have,
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense. And then when she's like, oh, Awa hurt us, it's just all of a sudden the squid rays come and help. When I was like, oh, I thought like the water was gonna come and like start destroying people like Moana style, and like that like magnetic thing was probably gonna get bigger or start like chasing after. But no, it's just like the squid rays.
Yeah, how crazy would it be if just like a giant hand came out of the water and like great, like, and it's
cool.
just something that's like, whoa, that like the moon of Pandora is like alive and anthropomorphic,
right?
Or I don't know. So, but yeah, it is. And again, that already happens at the end of the second film.
Yeah.
The climax of the second film is like, well, we're going to have to take on these giant boats. But then the whales show up and are like, we're here to fight with you.
Yeah.
And then they do the same thing in the third movie. They go to the whale council and they're like, will you fight with us? And the whales are like, no, we cannot fight. And then they're like, goodbye. And then they just like are like, actually, we're here. It's like, you already did this.
Yeah.
Like the only addition in the third movie is that they go and like ask the whales. They're like, hey, will you come fight with us? And they're just like, we cannot.
No.
Also, like in the second and third movie, I always think it's funny when the whales talk, just because they just kind of go like, no. And then it just says on the screen like, we whales cannot, like,
I know it really was. It doesn't.
Just like, this is not our battle.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it like, or just where they're like, he is outcast, he cannot come back. It's like, like,
yeah.
And it's just like, all right, whatever. Okay. But then they just like they're just like, actually, you know what, we'll help. But that's what happens at the end of the second movie.
Yeah.
And like, I thought it was kind of cool in the second movie when the whales are jumping up.
It was cool.
But then it just was like the exact same climax. Yeah. Like the whole third act climax of, I literally, in my brain, I feel like I must have left early because I kept thinking I'm ready to walk out now because it was so identical to the second one. But I did stay till the end, and I can't remember like what happened. I literally I'm just like, I just remember the whole third act being like, this is identical to the second movie.
Yeah. The whales come and help them, and then like, it really, pretty much the only difference is that they're fighting on the floating stones, Sully and Corch, even though that like they had a fight in the ship at the end of the second one, right? Isn't that
they were fighting on the boat,
but like it didn't make sense, and it was just a complete retread of the second movie. And I think that's why the ash people or the fire people, that's why they were so interesting. But then they just went to the background. Like they had this interesting conversation of like, oh, you need someone you want somebody who's better than you or an equal, right? Or whatever he says. And she's this like really cool, like scary villain. And then she teams up with the dude, and she's like, all right, I'm done.
She just becomes Quaritch's girlfriend and just sort of like defers to him. And I'm like, that completely takes the power away from that character.
Totally.
It makes her way less threatening. The fact that she was like running this tribe and running this war party, and a sky person just shows up and is like, hey, want to hook up? And she's like, yeah. And then,
that's exactly what it was.
And then it's just like, I'll be your girlfriend for the rest of the movie. And he's like, all right, baby.
Yeah.
And then it's
I'll take your hand. I'll do what you want.
Yeah. And then she just is like soft for the rest of the film and is not intimidating or scary. And it's like, that shouldn't have been that easy for him.
No.
And,
no. Yeah. And even if, why isn't it that like, gosh, she should have been the antagonist the entire film?
Yeah.
Because she is a way more interesting character. And the fact that everything that you said, it takes her power away. I was totally uninterested in her after that because she was in the background.
Well, all of the marketing for the film is about the Ash people. Yeah. All of the marketing is her.
Which they're cool.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like them. But then like halfway through the movie, when they team up at the midpoint, pretty much until the end of the third act, she kind of comes back.
Yeah.
And she's like, I liked how they had, so in the end, what is it? So it's Kiri, right? That like the whole movie,
I can't remember, like I told you, I have no idea.
The whole movie, this Varane girl is like connecting to people's ponytails, and she's hurting them, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And then I think Kiri comes and connects with her, and she gets afraid. And I was like, that's a cool way to end the movie, but I don't care because for the second half of this movie, she's not in it.
Yeah.
Like, so everything has been lessened because you have too much going on. You
Yep.
have way too much going on. Like the Sun story gets lost. The Ash lady, Varane, her story got lost, and her demise in the end is completely wasted because I don't really care as much about it.
When you bring up a really good point, that like again, like a new aspect is we've never seen this thing of like a Navi that connects ponytails with another Navi and like psychologically tortures them.
Yeah.
Sends, you know, that's a new idea. And the first time you see it, you're like, oh, and then we find out that like I guess you can kill Navi by severing their ponytail while they're connected, or you know. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. And it just is this next layer of like brutality.
Mhm.
And I feel like, you know, continuing the metaphor of the overarching franchise where we're talking about, you know, indigenous populations being invaded by colonizers and how the different tribes responded to this and how some tribes were a little bit more, you know, brutal with their war tactics than others. And so we're sort of having allusions to like scalping and things like that. I'm like, that's all really interesting, but I want to know more about it. I want to know like, what is she doing? And I totally agree with you. I like the idea of Kiri coming in and being like, I'm going to zap you back. With my ex. But I still am like, I have so many questions about what is going on about with this exchange. What did Fire and Ash woman, the Sahi there, what did she learn about these connections that allows her to, because she's kind of like a witch character. She's basically taken the power that every Navi innately has in them and figured out a way to turn it into a weapon. And that's all really interesting. It's just that, like you said, there's so much else going on. And also we're repeating ourselves so much that we don't have time to focus on what's new. And the movie should just be spending its time focusing on what's new. We all the times we're repeating ourselves, even bringing like Giovanni Ribisi back for a bigger role in this movie, I was like, it just feels like we're just repeating stuff. And every time we would go to, you know, Edie Falco, you know, like I just was like, I don't care about these characters. And I think we've moved on beyond them. Jermaine Clement and his whole storyline,
wasted.
Don't need it. Who cares? More stuff that, you know, is repeated. How many different action sequences in the second and third movie are Jake Sully telling his kids, you stay here and like protect your siblings, and then the kids disobeying dad because the family needs us, and then dad getting mad at them for disobeying. It's every action sequence for 2 movies. Every single time is like, what are you doing out here, boy? I told you to hang back. You got to be able to follow orders. Like, sorry, sir. You know, and like, and you're like, or like Took being like, so dad said we have to stay back, and being like, Took, I gotta go help mom and dad, you know. And it's like it is just a repeated thing over and over and over. And it's not till the end of the third movie that he's like, you proved yourself to me. You know? And even that, I just was like, I hate that like he had to like earn your respect after you've been terrible to him for and I don't know, the movie, they just repeat themselves so many times with so many things that all of the new interesting things kind of fall by the wayside. You know?
It really, there's also not enough. So like when this originally came out, I remember seeing an article that James Cameron was like, oh yeah, I'm going after Star Wars. This could go on for a long time. And I'm like, no, I can't see where this franchise can go after this. Like, let's just stop at 3 and be good. Because now James Cameron's like, well, if it stops here, I'm fine. Like, yeah, stop here. Because there's not really much added. Like, there's some things that are kind of interesting, but what else are you going to add to this world that would make it more interesting, like Star Wars? Because I can see they go to different, in Star Wars, they'll go to a ton of different worlds, which makes it inherently more interesting with a lot of different races and a lot of different stories they could explore, right? They've already established that it takes years for travel to get to Pandora, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, so what other tribes are you going to see? Like, what other people are you going to do? Like, I can't see where this franchise goes from here. That's not going to be more of the same.
Yeah.
And I think James Cameron, I would very much just like to have him make something that's not an Avatar movie.
Yeah, totally.
Because listen, James Cameron is an amazing filmmaker. It's amazing what he's done technically with these films to just make it work, and he seems to do it right. Even though we'll get to this later, but even though the visual effects didn't add anything for me, it's not that they're not good; they just don't add to the story.
Yeah.
But like James Cameron just needs to make something else, because right now I think he's running into a George Lucas problem where everyone is telling him yes and no one is telling him no, and he's doing things that are not like he's making these things because he can do it technically, not because it's better for the story. Like, just because you can do something technically doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, we need that's our next area that we need to get into, is just the technical aspect of these films, and the third one in particular, since that's the one we're talking about. Because that's sort of what a lot of people who love these movies will say, is like, well, I just really enjoy the visuals. I love the world building. Right. I love how rich the world is and how interesting and colorful and vibrant and detailed it is and all that stuff. And we'll have a conversation about that. But I just want to keep talking for just a little bit about these repeated emotional beats that don't build. Because I think that the rejoinder to what we're saying here in this conversation could be, and it's something that I've said before about episodic storytelling, that it's like, well, you got to wait. Like, they're not done yet.
Right.
Like James Cameron has said that there's going to be like 5 or 6 of these movies, you know? So when we talk about Quaritch and going, we're seeing the seeds being laid for something interesting, that now he's in the body of his enemy, and that eventually that could have a psychological effect on him and change the way that he perceives the indigenous population. And we're frustrated that it seems like every time they bring that up, they back off from it. But I think people who really like the movies could go, well, you got to wait. They're going to do it. Like, they're going to eventually land that plane in the 4th or 5th movie. And I would say, or with Spider and his relationship with his dad, they're gonna land all this, or with Kiri and her relationship with Awa. It's like, all of this is going to be explained. You just gotta wait. I would say that's fine. I'm totally fine letting a character arc build slowly over the course of several films. It's just that I don't actually see growth here between the second and third film. And really, for a lot of characters who have been there for all 3 films, I don't see any growth. Quaritch has been the exact same guy for 3 straight films. There have been hints at something interesting that could be done with him, but he just keeps coming back to being like, "Oorah, Semper Fi," which is also a thing that I hate about these movies. Is that I just hate the way that the Marines are written. That all the Marines are like, "Yeah, get some, oorah," and I'm like, guys, it is like the year 3000 or something. I don't even that's just Marines are just like, yeah, just a little jarhead in a blue body. I'm just a jarhead, and I'm just get some, oorah. And I'm just like, that's really all the Marines just always talk like Marines, and they have no personalities beyond just being a Marine. And that's Quaritch in all 3 films. And the only character that seems to have changed at all is Jake Sully, but he changed in the first film. That's the story of the first film. And then he's just this kind of bad dad for the second and third movies. And Neytiri has backwards regression, but a lot of these storylines in the second and third film, it's not like we're watching a slow development and you're going, oh, this is going to be really satisfying when it gets where I can tell it's going to. It's just they keep telling us information we already know about where these characters are in their journey. And it's like, no, you already said that. So what's next? What's the next step in the character development?
Exactly.
And it's not that I'm not willing to be patient for, Paul Atreides to become Lisan al-Gaib. I just I know that's where he's going at the end of Dune 1. It's just I need to see the journey continue and progress and grow. And certainly the amount that Paul changes from Dune 1 to Dune 2, it's going to be very interesting to see who he is in Dune 3 and what this has done to him, and in Dune Messiah. And it's I just need to see continual growth.
Exactly. And it's no growth. I mean, you put it exactly. If they're going to get there, they need to make progress. They have not made progress.
because I think we all can see where they want to get to.
Yeah.
And that's the other problem is that we're like way ahead of these very, very, very long movies.
Yeah.
And we're just like, just do it already. Like, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, 2 more movies. And it's like, okay, if there's 2 more movies of Quaritch just being like, Semper Fi, like, that's right, Corporal, like,
Yeah,
just like, and just being the same guy, and then eventually just going like, oh my gosh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, that took way too long. Like,
Yeah.
you just took so long to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Those are our thoughts on just how everything repeats, and there's just not much new in the third movie. But a lot of people, the rejoinder is it's not. These movies have never been about amazing character development, incredible original storytelling. They've always been about the marvel of the technical achievement of the world building, the beautiful imagery, the colors. How do you feel, actually, honestly, about how this movie looks?
I honestly felt like it looked like a video game cutscene. And that's what I told my friends after when I saw it. I said, that was the best video game cutscene I've ever seen. So I saw it in 3D, IMAX 3D, and it was high frame rate, which I hate high frame rate. I also hate 3D. I would recommend if you see it in 2D, just at 24 frames a second. It's just better. But this really, it doesn't look real. I'm sorry. It does not look real. Like, it's amazing what they have done. It's obviously looks a lot better than a lot of other movies, but it's still just, it's the uncanny valley that you just can't make. It just doesn't look real. Like, yeah, it looks great for what they did, but for me, if I were to choose best visual effects for the Oscars, right, I would choose Predator Badlands.
Me too.
Because it was way more seamless. It also helped me connect with the characters there, and it helped the story overall.
Yeah.
This is just set dressing that it doesn't immerse me in the movie more. It doesn't make the story better or more interesting. It's just kind of like, hey, look what we can do. I'm like, cool. Good for you.
And nothing takes you out of it more than anytime there's a live action character on screen.
Yes.
Anytime Spider is interacting with somebody, there's like a little love story between Spider and Kiri here. It's also weird because you're like, that's like 75-year-old Sigourney Weaver and this kid who's like 15, and like, but like, whatever. But also I just was kind of like, I don't feel this. Like, I don't feel like the movie is earning this. But whatever. But like, any scene with Spider, any scene with Giovanni Ribisi, any scene with Edie Falco, any scene with the scientist guys that are from the first movie, as soon as they show up, it like always like is jarring to me because I forget that this movie is supposed to be photorealistic, and then I go like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, this is supposed to be like a live action film.
Yeah.
And I think if Avatar would just embrace the fact that it's an animated film, like if it was just owning the fact that it is 99% an animated film, and it was just sort of like, look at the amazing animation we're able to do, I would go, yeah, the like beautiful, gorgeous animation. But if the ask is, does your brain believe this? Do you believe that this place is real? Do these things look photorealistic to you? Does it look like something that you could reach out and touch? Do you believe that you could exist in that environment? My feeling is, subjectively, I cannot convince my brain to not think it looks like a video game.
Yeah, me too.
The whole entire, and this one specifically.
Yeah.
For some reason, Avatar: Fire and Ash, more so than even the first two, I kept thinking like, I just can't. And maybe it's the 3D, maybe it was the 3D glasses, but I just was like, I can't convince my brain to stop thinking that this looks like a video game.
Yeah.
Like, so many of the scenes, I would just be like, I just feel like I'm watching somebody, even the way the camera moves, the way that I just was like, nothing about this feels like a film or like cinema. It feels like artifice in this weird way that I can't, and I totally agree with you. I don't have that feeling watching Predator Badlands, which is a movie that is largely animated too. I don't feel like when Elle Fanning shows up that suddenly she looks really out of place.
Right.
And her texture looks different and really shows how fake everything else is. I think she blends in better, you know,
Totally.
and the live action characters in that movie as a whole blend in better. And all of the Yautja characters like look real.
Yeah.
They look photorealistic to me. And I just can't say the same about like there are like these AI videos going around of like the behind the scenes footage of Avatar where it's like fake videos of like
Oh yeah, I think I saw it.
actual Navi people like on set with like headphones in, like looking at their phone in between takes and stuff, you
Yeah.
know, or like watching playback at Video Village and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of those AI videos, I'm like, that looks more real than the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's not and I don't like AI and I don't,
Right,
you know,
right.
but I just like if the best thing going for this franchise is how amazing the special effects are, then I can't even really give them that
Yeah.
because I'm like, if just as an animated film, great work, everybody.
Yeah.
But if the idea is that I'm supposed to believe in this place
Mhm.
as a, you know, like when I watch Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I am immersed and
Mhm.
I'm looking at like certain characters and just going, the only reason I know that that's animation is because that's impossible.
Right.
Like that orangutan has to be animated, but it just looks so real. I just
Yeah.
believe that that's a real gorilla, you know? And like, I don't believe that any of these creatures are even remotely realistic looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And the point of having good visual effects for me, or the reason why I like good visual effects, is if it immerses me in the story more,
Mhm.
if it helps contribute to the story. The visual effects in this movie did not do that for me, and that for me is not enough to make the movie good. Like I would much rather have a story. And James Cameron is a good storyteller, even though his dialogue has never been the best. It doesn't matter because his stories overall are really good. You
Yeah.
know, like Terminator 2 is a very interesting story, and it pays off. It has good themes. This is not an interesting story, and it's just not. It's like pulling teeth.
Well, and
And
it's a rehashed story.
it is a
It's story. It's a story you already told.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the visual effects, like, that's not enough for me. Like, it felt more like we said, a video game, but I also felt like this is like a ride at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going in and like, oh, this would be really cool if this was an interactive thing that I could do. And oh, you've got to help the Navi by firing arrows, and you fire arrows.
100%.
Cool.
Totally.
Like, so I saw the movie with my two sons. They didn't really love it either, which is, I mean, but my son bought the video game, and the video game is super fun.
Yeah.
And he like loves the video game, doesn't love the movies, but like, this is not immersive for me. This isn't really creating a good story. So if you like seeing movies just for that, okay, but does it need to be 3 hours long?
That's the thing too, is if you want to break Way of Water and Fire and Ash up into two films, fine. Having watched both of them back to back, neither one of them justified the runtime.
No.
Both of them, I was like, there's just so much here that doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
And you could totally release two 2-hour long films.
Yeah.
That and you would still sell just as many tickets, and
you'd sell more because you could have more showings.
Yeah, absolutely. And like if you could say like, hey, we almost made this one film, but we had like about 4 hours of story and we didn't want to make people sit through 4 hours. I could see that, but 6 hours and watching them both and going, with how much you guys are repeating yourselves, because it's not that like there's nothing new in Fire and Ash.
Yeah.
We've talked about the different things that you know, new developments. You know, Kiri and Spider don't kiss in the second one, and the Ash people aren't in the second one, and Quaritch isn't hooking up with a Na'vi lady in the second one. There are new, you know, you don't see Awa go like this in the second one. Oh. The whales don't have a council in the second one.
Yeah.
You know, but like, you're repeating yourself enough that it's like there's obviously a lot here that doesn't need to be here. And that, you know, even if just the third one was like, here's an hour and a half of additional stuff that we couldn't justify keeping in the runtime time of the second one, I'd be like, okay, sure, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I just feel like, you know, even with the technical achievement, it's kind of like, one thing I like about the Planet of the Apes movies, these new ones, is the first one looks good. Rise looks good.
Right.
The jump in quality from the first to the second one is so shocking.
Yeah.
Like the opening shot of Caesar's face in the woods and at the beginning of Dawn, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then they stay at a really high quality, even through Kingdom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's this like really impressive, just like they continue kind of upping the ante.
Right.
And with something like Avatar that's supposed to be kind of the gold standard of visual effects in modern filmmaking, you kind of want them to keep topping themselves, like keep like upping the ante. And it feels like, at least to my eye, I felt like Fire and Ash like looked the same as the second one, maybe worse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. I mean, I wonder if we should just get to scores, because there's not much we can say about this.
Yeah. No, I think that everybody gets it. We don't really like it. And again, if you do, more power to you.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of people really do.
Like, I mean, it's making a ton of money.
Yeah.
So, and we did do our predictions, and I think I said it's going to make over $1 billion for sure. We'll see if it makes over $2 billion, but it probably will. So we'll see.
Yeah, and we're obviously in the minority here, and I keep trying to convince myself to fall in love with this franchise, and I just can't. I
can't either.
And I like a good mindless turn your brain off and have a good time. That's what Predator Badlands is to me. Is just like, hey, don't take it too seriously. Have a good time.
Yeah,
and it's a blast.
Yeah, and it needs to have just enough story that's good to be over just the average, right? And Badlands had that. It had a better story than most, and this does not have a good story overall. There's just too much of it.
So okay, so those are our thoughts on Avatar 3. We're going to give it our scores. We give scores for a technical rating. That's just everything from the technical side of the filmmaking, the craft, the cinematography, the acting, the musical score, all that stuff. We get, and all these scores are out of 10, 10 being the best. We give a score for the ending, how well did they stick the landing. We give a score for rewatchability. We give a score for the cultural impact, and we give a score for just our subjective feelings on the film. Kramer, what is your technical rating for Avatar Fire and Ash?
My technical rating is a 5. Now, technical is everything from screenwriting to all of that. And the 5 is mainly because of I've watched some behind the scenes stuff, and it is amazing what they do. Like, James Cameron wants to do things right, which I think is great, but like no other filmmaker gets that chance, maybe a handful. But he just does things well. So he thinks about things and he does it well. But the visual effects are sorry. The visual effects, you can't say that there was a lot of time and effort put into it. But the 5 is like all that, because the story's not great. Like, it is structured well, but the dialogue is bad, and it's just they just overdraw it. So the pacing is off because everything's just too long.
Yeah.
Like, having an hour-long third act is like, just get going. Like,
when it literally feels like the third act and the second and third film do that, this like big out, and it just feels like this flex where they're like, now we're going to give the audience what they came for.
Yeah.
Big, long, hour-long third. And I'm like, guys, I don't even need it.
I don't either.
Like, make it 20 minutes. Make like a cool 20-minute set piece. Like, I don't need it to be an hour,
Nope.
Yeah. It just that ending just drags on and on and on.
Keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6 technically. Same reasons you did. It's like, this is like, and to me, it's like this should be the highest score for any Avatar film. And it's like, I can give them 5 points for the effort that the team has to put into the visual effects and the mapping and everything that goes into like making this, getting to the final cut of a film like this.
Yeah.
And then I can maybe give them like 1 point for just like everything else, for like performances and, and writing and, like, so that's, it's like, that's my most generous thing that I can offer this film.
Mm-hmm.
How about the ending?
The ending, I gave a 5 just because kind of the same. I mean, it's not really, it's kind of a retread.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was an hour-long action sequence, so like, some of it was fun for sure. If you just don't think about it, just look at the visuals, but it's kind of everything. And then I'm really frustrated with how they handle everything with Quaritch. He just like jumps off, and he is alive, by the way. I guess they revealed it in some video game, but
of course he is. Stop.
So it's also like, I'm just frustrated that you guys did that too. So there's not like this huge emotional catharsis that like I'm looking for. And even the thing with what's Sigourney Weaver's name again? Kiri. Even with Kiri, I was like, this doesn't really satisfy what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, no.
So Awok showing up wasn't very cool. Like it was just again like the first movie when they all like, oh, the more animals are here. Awok,
right. All 3 movies.
Yeah,
where it's just like the animals are coming to help us, and it's like, yep,
like I figured that.
Yeah, we have nature on our side. Yeah. I gave the ending of this film a 2, mostly just because I like have such a hard time even remembering what happened. And because I really think I glazed over, especially in the third act, when I just was like, this looks exactly the same as what I watched last night in the second movie. And then I just was like kind of annoyed for the rest of the movie because I was like, I can't believe how similar this is.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, it's supposed to be like here's the big finale. And I just was kind of like, how remarkably lazy.
Yeah.
Like to me, it feels like when Disney movies used to use the same cells, the same animation cells for different films, because it was really hard to draw films by hand. So they would take the same kind of like movement pattern of a character, and then they would layer a new character over that movement pattern so that they didn't have to like, and it just felt like that. And I don't know, it just left me feeling really kind of like they had wasted my time and my money. How about rewatchability?
Rewatchability, I gave a 4.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm giving it a 3.
Yeah.
It's too long. It's too long. I don't really care about everything that happens. Like if I want to turn off my brain, I want to have something else that like, but this is just kind of, it's also an action. Like I know everything is fake. So I disconnect from the action. Like I appreciate in Predator Badlands that there are real aspects to it. Like, and I just would rather have the thought, like any sort of realism in there makes a difference. And this was just kind of like, oh, it's just an animated, thing. And it just, I just couldn't.
And isn't it interesting again that if they would just embrace the fact that it's animated, we would probably like, it's weird because it's like enjoying, Predator Killer of Killers, animated film, and being like, oh, that's a really fun movie.
Yeah.
But like, because it's not trying to do something. It's not trying to be something that it's not. Rewatchability, I gave this a 1 because like, again, I only watched the first movie once. And then when I went back to rewatch it, it was just so I could remember what happened before the third one. And it was hard to get through. And then I watched the third one and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to watch this again.
Yeah.
And just because, like you said, very, very long. I don't know what I'm coming back for. If, like what is, there's nothing that I can see in the third one that I can't see in the first one.
Yeah.
And so that's how I feel about that. Cultural impact.
Cultural impact is definitely my highest score. I'm giving it an 8. I think that these movies will be, I mean, obviously a ton of people see them.
Mm-hmm.
The Avatar is still the highest grossing movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was taken out by Endgame for a little bit, and then it regained the lead. So I think that these 3 movies will be impactful in the long run. I just, especially internationally, it makes a lot more money than here in the US. But so I think it will make an impact whether I like it or not. So.
Yeah, same thing here. That was my highest score is 8. It was just like, well, it doesn't matter what I think.
Yeah.
These movies are going to keep just racking up bills, and they're just they're going to probably keep making them, and they're going to so whatever.
Yeah.
And people love it. Yeah, I'm glad that Predator Badlands did well, but like I wish that was like the runaway hit of the year, because I just think we talked about this when we saw it, that I was like, it's very similar in that you're like spending 2 hours on an alien planet with a lot of new creatures, and I just find it to be such a more entertaining and interesting film.
Yes, me too.
Subjective score.
I gave it a 3. I thought that the Fire and Ash people were really interesting, but they totally wasted them. This is the thing. Like, this could have been a more interesting movie, but it just wasn't.
I just was like, what's the highest score I can give this? And I gave it like a 2, and I was like, be honest. And I was like, no, it's a 1. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I like couldn't convince myself to like it. I really was trying. I really was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting concept. Oh, okay. But then every time there was something interesting, they would do something that would like negate it.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, okay, well, so by the end of it, I just was like, I don't know. I don't care about any of this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see another one of these.
I don't either, so we don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have to. But what do you guys think? Are we totally out of our minds? Is Avatar the coolest series of films ever? Is it your favorite movie trilogy? Let us know what we're missing in the comments. Sound off and tell us why we're wrong, or tell us why you agree with us.
Yep.
We are going to do kind of a retrospective breakdown of Stranger Things as a series, and also really just talk about the finale of Stranger Things next on the show. It's been a big cultural moment,
Yes.
it's for better or worse, however you feel about it, it's a big thing. And it's kind of like, like part of this era where TV shows feel like movies and have the budgets of movies. And so we're going to be watching the end of Stranger Things, talking about that. So watch that if you want to watch along with the show and get our feedback and our thoughts. And that's it. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.